Well, along those same lines, I'd like to get into another story that I heard that you and your pilot, Randy Cunningham, shot down 5 North Vietnamese MiGs on 3 separate missions. And so it seems like this very solid plane kind of got you through those experiences as well. Can you kind of walk us through that and what it felt like? And
Sure.
sounds really kind of scary, actually.
Well, when you're young, you don't get as scared when you're young as you do when you get older. But our first mission into North Vietnam, where we went right into the heartland, where there were possible enemy airplanes, there was a huge number of surface-to-air missiles, maybe 18 to 20, fired at our strike group. There were about 25 airplanes, and I was amazed when we were up in the sky when the missile would be coming down at us from above, and we had to pull the heart up and roll over the top of it, and it would correct and start coming back at us. So we had to, be on our P's and Q's and make sure we did everything correctly because we had no answer. But we got through it. It seemed in terminal stages of that, and so you can appreciate this, we didn't want to get below 400 knots. We usually went into enemy territory about Mach 1.1 at about 25,000. We ended up on the first MiG kill at 250 knots at 7,500 feet, right in the heart of anti-aircraft or AAA country. So we did a tight graveyard spiral right down to the deck. And as we were coming out of this and accelerating, two bandits, we call them blue bandits, MiG-21s, had just taken off. They were in tight welded wing. And I wish I could tell you it was a big dramatic turning dogfight, but it wasn't. The bandits were right in front of us, and we pulled hard on, picked out the nearest tailpipe, fired a heat seeker missile. It went up his tailpipe, huge explosion. He tumbled across the ground, and that was our first MiG kill. So it happened fast. It was unexpected. It was quite an event.
And then you had to get out of there because you're down low and slow.
We did, and we got separated from the flight, Sandy. So we were, we were low. We were, we chased before we actually caught up to the bandit. We probably were, if you can imagine this, at about approaching 600 knots, somewhere about 100 feet, across ridge, and it was a low altitude, high speed tail chase. And I kind of left this out. The first missile we fired, one of the lead bandit made a hard brake turn. And actually, probably, I'm not sure if it was the lead of the trail, but the bandit who was in the lead position continued ahead. The bandit who made the hard brake turn reversed right back in front of us to try to get back into position. That kind of sweetened up the shot. But it was low to the ground. I remember we were so low, Sandy, it seemed like if Randy rolled the airplane 90 degrees, the wing would scrape the ground. That's how low we were. So, but it was a pretty interesting event. We were by ourselves now, and the strike group had departed out through Laos. And they're maybe 15 or 18 miles away from us. So Cunningham said to me, "Give me a heading out here, Willie." And I said to myself in a nanosecond, "We don't want to go other than what was briefed because we're going to go through other enemy airfields and we're liable to get really shot at badly again." So I gave him a heading, and I tried to take a wide arc around where we knew the suspected SAM sites were to go back in the direction that we briefed and where the main strike group was. And so that's how we got out of there. And we got looked at. We had multiple strobes on the way out. We were tight on gas. We looked like we were going to have to go into Da Nang, but they didn't shoot. My understanding is they pretty much had fired the SAMs that they had available at that point. So we were lucky they didn't shoot us as we left.
Wow, that's a story.